Richard O'Connor begins Undoing Depression by asserting that depression is not just a feeling, it's a set of ingrained habits that affect how we think, feel, and act. He emphasizes that while therapy and medication are important tools, they often fail to teach people the skills necessary to live without depression long-term. His central thesis is that to truly overcome depression, we must unlearn the psychological patterns that sustain it. He explains that depression rewires the brain. Chronic sadness, stress, and helplessness condition us into depressive responses. Over time, the brain becomes accustomed to patterns of avoidance, pessimism, self-blame, and emotional withdrawal. Undoing depression, therefore, is about changing the way we live, not just the way we feel. O'Connor differentiates between having depression and doing depression. The latter is an active process, often unconscious, where individuals engage in behaviors and thoughts that keep them stuck. These include isolating from others, suppressing feelings, or engaging in harsh self-talk. Recovery means becoming conscious of these behaviors and learning healthier alternatives. He delves into the origins of these patterns, exploring how childhood experiences, especially those involving trauma, neglect, or emotional invalidation, plant the seeds for depressive thinking. Children in such environments often learn to minimize their needs, deny their feelings, or become hypervigilant. These coping strategies, useful in childhood, become toxic in adulthood. Emotional repression is a major theme in the book. O'Connor argues that depressed people often don't feel less, they feel too much, and in response, they shut down. This shutdown becomes habitual. Rather than experiencing emotions fully and expressing them, many depressed individuals avoid them entirely, numbing out or pushing them away. One of the key strategies he offers is emotional literacy. This involves learning to recognize, name, and accept emotions as they arise. He provides exercises that help readers get in touch with their inner experience, such as journaling, body scanning, and mindfulness. These practices build a more honest and compassionate relationship with one's emotional life. Self-criticism is another powerful force behind depression. O'Connor writes that many depressed people maintain an internal dialogue that is harsh, perfectionistic, and punishing. They hold themselves to impossible standards and interpret mistakes as proof of worthlessness. Undoing this requires intentionally practicing self-compassion and challenging distorted beliefs. The book critiques the modern culture of achievement and overwork. O'Connor observes that many people with depression are high-functioning on the outside but deeply disconnected within. They focus on being productive and successful while ignoring their emotional needs. This performance-driven life keeps them numb and prevents healing. He advocates for what he calls conscious living. This means making deliberate choices rather than acting out of habit or compulsion. Conscious living involves slowing down, noticing your inner world, and responding rather than reacting. This mindfulness-based approach creates the space needed to make healthier decisions. Relationships are central to recovery. O'Connor discusses how depression often sabotages intimacy, either by isolating the sufferer or by creating conflict and misunderstanding. Learning to communicate vulnerably and rebuild trust is essential. He shares tools for improving emotional expression and for asking for what you need in a healthy way. Another major point in the book is the importance of building a life you actually want. Depression thrives when people live disconnected from their values or dreams. O'Connor encourages readers to rediscover passion, curiosity, and meaning, not as grand epiphanies, but through small daily steps that reconnect them with purpose. The author shares stories from his own experience with depression, as well as those of his clients. These narratives ground the book in real-life struggle and change. O'Connor doesn't offer quick fixes, instead, he shows that undoing depression is a slow, layered process, but one that is possible with persistence and compassion. He also discusses the role of medication. While he supports its use when necessary, he cautions that meds alone won't create meaningful change. They can reduce symptoms, but without changing the patterns that cause depression, relapse is likely. Meds are a tool, not a cure. Throughout the book, O'Connor urges readers to take responsibility for their healing, not in a blameful way, but as an empowering step. Responsibility means choosing to engage with life again, even when it's hard. It means building emotional muscles that have long gone unused. Healing is active work, and it belongs to the person suffering. He emphasizes the value of routine and structure. Depression makes everything feel overwhelming, so small habits, regular sleep, exercise, balanced meals, and creative expression, can become lifelines. These routines send signals of safety to the body and reduce emotional chaos. In closing, O'Connor offers hope. He reminds readers that depression is not a flaw or weakness, it's a response to pain. But the brain is plastic, behavior can change, and new ways of being are always available. By becoming more conscious, more compassionate, and more engaged, we can undo depression not just for a day, but for good.